Good morning. Welcome to our Shotsuki service for November. It's nice to have everyone here and there joining us for this service. It's kind of refreshing. We get into November and you can certainly tell the weather's definitely changing and everything is so fresh and crisp. Freezing cold sometimes, but as the day warms up a little bit, gets a little bit more comfortable, and early on it's sometimes bundled up to just be warm enough to be here at the temple. But it's nice to have everyone here and looking forward to enjoying this service with each of you. I would like to introduce you to our service chairpersons for today. Yes, back by popular demand was the Sloth family. Sadie and Mama Sho and baby Tsuki are all here, and I just can't help but admire their diligence to come back month after month and almost insisting that they be allowed to chair this Shotsuki service, and they are so happy to be able to contribute. This particular service means so much to them that they just admire that this aspect of our Jodo Shinshu tradition is so many of our families participate, take part, and not only the elders, but encouraging the young ones to come to this service and to reflect upon their own families, people they have lost in their families, and to keep this as a very meaningful part of their family lives. And as they remember people they've lost, they strengthen the family ties, and the young ones get to know the stories and the history of the family, and it all means so much. And the Sloth family really appreciate it and respect this, and to be able to see the different families that come month after month, and to hear a little bit about their stories, and then to be able to meet each of these families has become a big part of their lesson as new Jodo Shinshu followers. So we're so happy to have them here once again. As you can see, they have their masks on and reminding us to continue to be safe and cautious. And they each have their onenju on, so they are ready for service. I'd like to go over our service order for today. We'll begin with the reading of the Hyobyakumon, and then presenting the Shotsuki names for this month of November. Then I'll take my seat up on the altar for the chanting of the Sambujo and the Amida Kyo. Nembutsu and Ekoku will complete the chanting portion of our service, and then I'll come back for our Dharma message. Okay. So hopefully you have set up at home to be able to participate in the service. Again, the sutras, Sambujo, Amida Kyo, and during the reading of the Shotsuki names, please prepare to come up to offer incense as you have prepared to do at your homes. Light your incense, and when the names are called, please come up, each person in your family, to offer incense. All right. So with that, we will begin. Please join me in Gassho as I read the Hyobyakumon. Today, on this occasion of the Shotsuki service for the month of November, the members of our temple families have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved. With deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida, we reaffirm the three homages. Namo Kie Butsu, Namo Kie Ho, Namo Kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandab, 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 Namandab. We'll now have the reading of the Shotsuki names for November. Akahoshi, Kirk. Arai, Hanzo. Doi, Mitsuyo. Fukuda, Sakumatsu. Fukuma, Senzuchi. Fujino, Infant, Kimiko. Furuno, Fujino. Handa, Infant, Julian. Hashimoto, Kyo. Honda, Yoshitomo. Hoshi, Hatsuko. Ikezoe, Tomitaro. Imazumi, Chiyono. Imazumi, Kinkichi. Imazumi, Shizue. Imura, Sakunosuke. Kakimoto, Yoshio James. Kamiji, Yoshio. Kato, Infant Iwa. Kitajima, Kinhei. Kobashi, Kisomatsu. Kodama, Motokichi. Kumagai, Misao. Maeda, Futami. Manville, Kazuko. Matsumoto, Katsusaburo. McFarland, William. Minami, Tsunezo. Miyazaki, Infant, Masako. Muramoto, Infant, Rei. Nakamura, Kyoto. Nakano, Dick, Hideaki. Nakayama, Kakunojo. Nakayama, Tane. Narahara, Dorothy. Nishimoto, Wakanosuke. Nomiyama, Masano. Ogami, Matsu. Ogi, Matsuye. Otsuka, Frank. Ruiz, L. Saito, Infant, Yaeko. Sakamoto, Zenichi. Sato, Goro. Sueyasu, Torakichi. Sugimoto, Midori. Takagi, Ume. Terao, Reverend Au. Terazawa, Infant, Yukie. Tsuchiya, Kishiro. Tsuchiya, Shigeru. Ushijima, Seisuke. Wada, Frank. Yamamoto, Susumu. Yamamoto, Yoshinori. Yamaoka, Alice. Yamashita, Moriji. Yumekezuri, Chotaro. These are the Shotsuki names for the month of November. If there are additions or corrections, please notify the office. Sambujo, Amida Kyo. 阿弥陀経行世がも日時分際社会国美術機構独音両大ビク主戦に約50人区改正大あらかん中小知識長のシャリホマカモケンレンマカカショマカカ千年マカクチラピハタシュリアンダガナンダアナンダラゴラショボンナダイビンズルアラダカルダイマカコヒンナハクラアヌルダヨゼト将来弟子領書モサマカサ本州シリ王子アイタモサケンダカダイモサ上昇人ポサヨニョゼト将来モサ牛食大官陰頭無料商店大祝二次文語長老シャリホ十世裁法果十万億分の世界の暗極楽合道無分語阿弥陀根源在説法シャリホイド過去名義極楽語国衆上無宿単住小楽光明極楽シャリホ極楽国土七十何十七十羅も七十五十改正司法修相異尿税庫非国明暗極楽シャリホ極楽国土七宝地薬毒水十万五中四体順に根社無事四縁街道根言ルリありご上上老各類根言ルリあり社交釈衆名の二言直視地中連下大名車輪小式証拠大式陽光釈式釈庫釈式白光微妙高血シャリホ国羅国土上重尿税空毒将軍ウシャリホイブ国土上差天学黄金維持昼夜六時理由曼荼羅家広告修上上位昇誕各位英国上修明家空用他法十万六分六位直時伝統本国凡直行業シャリホ国羅国土上重尿税空毒将軍物資シャリホ異国上中重奇妙座敷市長百国弱法務シャリ下領民が愚名市長聖書州長長や六時水和下音高音年長高婚高力式法大文那小道文上税東方合同修上門税音に大新年分年法年祖シャリ法領物医師 超実税祭法少少少位社が非部国土無三幕州シャリ法合部国土小部三幕道司名画教有実税小州長改税阿弥陀仏欲療法温泉流園芸少佐シャリ法非部国土未部水道東方五十九法ラモ睡眠妙音非尿百千十学同時草門税恩社開示年上年分年法年相死心チャリオ五部国土長寿尿税功徳将軍Good morning again, everyone. Let's begin today with the reading of this wasan. Please join me in Gassho. The light of wisdom exceeds all measure, and every finite living being receives this illumination that is like the dawn. So take refuge in Amida, the true and real light. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. This wasan is from the Hymns of the Pure Land, and in this wasan, in praise of Amida Buddha, presents the light of wisdom that exceeds all measure. This wisdom is not our own knowledge, but the pure, non-discriminating mind of Amida. It is the wisdom of samadhi stillness. Every finite being means each of us, with our limitations, our flaws, our attachments. Each of us receives this light of wisdom. And for this reason, we should take refuge in Amida, the true and real light. The light that reveals our flaws is at the same time the light that brings truth and acceptance. So today, I have a story from old Japan, and it's about a very poor, uneducated day laborer. So he lived in an old shack. This was his home, and he didn't mind living in this shack, but what he really wanted was to find someone that he could love and get married and share his life with. So he was always hoping and dreaming and that he would be able to meet someone special to join him in his life. But he thought there would be no woman who would want him, as he's living in this poor shack and very sad and poor conditions. So he wanted to improve his lot in life, and he worked hard trying to save money and to improve, maybe to get a better home, a bigger home that two people could share in, and this was his driving force. He really wanted to make things work in his life so he could have what he really dreamed about, that he thought would complete his life, to find someone to share his life with. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't seem to make things better. It was so difficult to save enough money, and he was so limited just working as a day laborer, and just couldn't seem to make the improvements that he wanted to make. So finally, he decided he's got to have a different way, a better way. And so he went to the marketplace and he bought this very cheap statue of the goddess of happiness. And he thought maybe, just maybe, he could pray to this goddess and his life dreams would come true. So morning and night he would give his prayers to this goddess and expressing his deepest wishes to find someone to share his life with. And he did this every day for 3 years. But nothing happened, continuing to do his work, struggling, making ends meet barely, and nothing was improving, and he was getting more sad, more despondent in his conditions, and he finally started thinking maybe he just didn't want to live this way anymore. Maybe he should just commit suicide, just kill himself. And he had these kind of thoughts in his mind, and even to the extent of how should he do it, thinking about this way or that way, and wondering if he should or if he could do this. And as he was having these thoughts, one evening he was sitting in his little home and there was a knock on his door, and he kind of ignored it. Maybe they'll go away. Just don't bother him now. And the knocking was persistent. So he went to the door and answered the door. And as he opened the door, this beautiful young lady was standing at the door, and she had dazzling eyes and just the nicest smile, and personality was just bubbling over her being. So he was looking at her and said, "Who are you?" And so she told him, "My name is Kisho. I'm the goddess of happiness. I've heard your prayers over 3 years, and so I decided to answer your prayers, and I'm here. I'm here to meet you and to join you, to become your wife." And he was just stunned in looking at her, and he felt so full and happy that to have his dreams answered. And he wasn't sure if he was living his life or is he dreaming about this. And he's looking at her and finally, please come in and we can talk. And so as he welcomed her in the door, she turned and speaking to someone else, and he overheard this, and she's inviting her sister, "Let's go in together. We'll go into the house together and we'll talk to him." And so the man asked, "Who are you talking to?" "So this is my sister Kokuji. This is my sister Kokuji. She's the goddess of unhappiness." And so they both came in, and very different from Kisho, the second, her younger sister, Kokuji, the goddess of unhappiness, was not so good looking, even toad-like, even ugly. And so she was not so attractive. And so the man was wondering, what kind of person this was. And she didn't have this nice, smiling personality. And he wasn't sure if he wanted them both in the house. And so he said, couldn't you just ask your sister to wait somewhere else, and we could talk and discuss everything and get to know each other. And so the goddess of happiness, Kisho, said, oh no, we go everywhere together. She's like my shadow. Wherever I go, she will be with me. And so we come together. And so the man was stunned that he felt so happy to meet the goddess of happiness. But then she has her sister, the goddess of unhappiness. And so both of them are standing before him, and he didn't know what to do. He was just frozen. And the idea coming to terms that I have to accept both of them, not just one, but both of them. So this is the story. And in the story, I think we can take that the light of Amida shines upon everything. So the whole spectrum of happiness and unhappiness, good and bad, right and wrong, this is revealed and exposed. So not just one thing that we might prefer to have, but there's a whole spectrum that we might not notice, might not want to see. We focus on one and not the other, but they all come together. And so this whole spectrum is revealed and exposed. So not to look at one over the other. And the light that shines, the light of Amida, shines upon the truth. And the truth is both ends of the spectrum. So with this interesting story, please join me again, and we'll read the quote, the wasan that we began with. So please join me in Gassho. The light of wisdom exceeds all measure, and every finite living being receives this illumination that is like the dawn. So take refuge in Amida, the true and real light. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Okay, thank you very much for letting me share this interesting, fun story from old Japan and joining us for this Shotsuki service. At this time, I would light the incense, so please come up at your homes to conclude the service, and things should be ready. So to please come up again for Oshoko to conclude this service. I would like to thank everyone who has participated in this service and everyone who has helped to set up, our chairpersons who have joined us, and all the preparations that have been done to prepare the video taping and editing and lighting and all these things, the flowers on the onaijin and all the osonai and all the items placed upon the altar table and each of these things, and thanking the families again for joining us, participating in this Shotsuki service. So let's conclude this service. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Please come up and Oshoko. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Namanda, Namanda,